This is a Louie Tee Network exclusive.
Let's get it back. Mick Dormant, Louie Tee. Welcome. You are in the lab room, of course. I'm your host, Luke. Thank you for joining me on the 2016 NFL Draft Prospects 101 series. Your guide to some of the biggest and hottest names of the 2016 NFL Draft. We're talking cornerbacks. We've already knocked down some of the bigger names, and you could consider Jalen Ramsey a safety if you like. A lot of people consider him a safety. He's a defensive back. It doesn't matter. Whoever drafts him is going to play him where they feel like he helps their team best. Knock down Mackenzie Alexander, another guy that a lot of people like at the cornerback position. But for my money, you ask me who's the most well-rounded corner in this draft, I'm going to look you dead in your eyes and tell you it's VH3, Florida, Vernon Hargreaves, third. Let's break him down, talk about his pros, his cons, then move on to the next cornerback in this draft class. Look, Vernon Hargreaves, the third for me, is a special type of athlete, a guy with a mindset that I love. Let's talk about Vernon Hargreaves right now. Great athlete is the first pro that jumps out at me. It's a guy that I feel like, and I'll go ahead and lump the next pro in there because I think the reason he's a great athlete is because of the next pro. Elite quickness, great feet. His feet are so quick, they're dynamic, they're explosive. You get quick, subtle movement out of his feet, and it allows him to break on the football, make some plays, break up some passes, jump in front of some passes, pick them off, which is what he did on a regular basis at Florida. And I think he's not a great long distance runner, I don't think he's a guy necessarily with the greatest makeup speed in the world. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, but in terms of quickness, short bursts, a guy that can make a play on a football, can drive on a football and pick something off where it looks like he was out of the play and was beaten. I think Vernon Hargreaves III might be the best in this entire draft with his quickness, and it's elite, and I think he's a great athlete because of that. And that explosiveness, you see it when he leaps for the football. To me, he's got I'm expecting a 42, 43 inch vertical out of this guy at the combine. There's an interception against, I want to say it was Kentucky. Don't quote me on this. I want to say it was Kentucky. It may have been Ole Miss. I'm pretty sure it was Kentucky though, 2015, where he climbs the ladder. And I'm talking about every bit of 3 to 4 feet above the next person looking to catch that football is Vernon Hargreaves III. He climbs the ladder, goes up, takes the football at its highest peak, and makes a play on the football, and that's the type of athlete you're getting with Vernon Hargreaves III. Comfortable in any coverage. I feel comfortable putting this guy in press man to man. I feel just as comfortable in press and bail. I feel just as comfortable in cover 3. His eyes are constantly in the backfield. It can get him in trouble at times, but to me, and that's another one of his pros, keys quarterback eyes well. So I feel comfortable putting him anywhere in any type of coverage and asking him to do whatever it is I need him to do. Cover 2, cover 3, cover 4, man to man, press and bail, whatever it is, I feel comfortable with him doing that. That being said, keys quarterback eyes well. To me, he's his most dangerous when he's in zone coverage, cover 3, able to really look at the quarterback, gauge as to what he is trying to do, key his eyes, see where he's going with the football, make a play. A lot of his interceptions come in zone coverage where he's able to diagnose where the quarterback wants to go with the football, make a break on it, make a play. So I love the way he keys the quarterback's eyes. That being said, it can't get him in trouble. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Tremendous ball skills. I talked about the pick he made versus Ole Miss, or excuse me, against Kentucky. Had a couple of picks, if I'm not mistaken, against Ole Miss. He's a playmaker. He has tremendous ball skills. The ball hits his hands. I feel confident in saying if no one interferes with him, if it's just him and the football, he's coming down with it. He's not one of these guys that you can't trust making a play. If you make a mistake around VH3, you're going to pay for that mistake. And that's why I love ball hawking corners, because you don't get a second chance with these guys. You make a mistake around these guys, you pay for that mistake around those guys. And he's one of those players that will make you pay for a mistake. And he did it at Florida. Again, one of the best in the nation at picking the football off and turning it over. Physical mindset. And to me, this is the reason why I like him more so than some of the other cornerbacks in this draft class, is because his mindset is one of a guy that plays linebacker. He's physical. And I want to go ahead and lump this in with the next pro, because to me, these go hand in hand. Plays every snap hard. He plays every snap like it's his last snap. And I love it. You don't get that mentality out of a cornerback very often, because of all the positions on the field defensively, cornerback is probably the one position where physicality and tackling is optional. If you want to be physical, if you want to tackle, it's up to you. You can if you want to. You don't have to. There's no mandate on a corner being physical and tackling, because a lot of times corners want no part of the fray. They don't want to get in a pile. They don't want to mix it up. They don't want to go help. They don't want to come in and cut a guy down. They don't want to take on a fullback. They don't want to take on a tight end. They damn sure don't want any part of a pulling guard. That's not Vernon Hargreaves III, man. This dude is putting his body on the line on every single snap, and I love it. Ha ha! I love it. And that's part of the reason why I love Vernon Hargreaves III. This dude puts his body on the line. He doesn't care. He's being physical. He's flying around the football field. If I could put him in Eli Apple's body, I'd have the perfect cornerback. Okay? This guy plays the game the way it's supposed to be played. Now, is it going to cut his career short? I don't know. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to tell you that the man plays the game extremely hard. And when he goes and sits down at his locker to take off his equipment, the man is spent. I can tell you, just by watching the tape, I can tell you there's no more left in the gas tank when he goes to take his cleats and his pads off after the game is done. And that's the way the game is supposed to be played, and that's the way that Vernon Hargreaves III plays the game of football. Special teams value. You also get that from him in the sense of a kickoff returner if need be, punt returner. I think he can help you with that right away if you need him to. He also is a gunner, guy you just slide down in and have him get down the field and make a play that way. And also, they even used him on offense in Florida. Don't expect teams in the NFL to do that with him, but hey, it's an option nonetheless. If you want to try that, you can. So there's a number of different things you can do with him, special teams wise. He adds a lot of value to your football team in that regard as well. So there's a lot here to like about Vernon Hargreaves III, and it's part of the reason why I'm so infatuated with this guy at the cornerback position. Moving on to the National Football League. Let's talk about his cons though, because he's not a perfect corner, and really there aren't any perfect corners to me in this draft. He's 5'10", 5'11", 195. Okay, that's his size. That's the first con. Look, that's generous. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if you ever read a team's program and they list a guy at 5'11", 6'2", whatever, go ahead and knock about 2 inches off of that. Whatever they have that player listed as, go ahead and knock an inch or two off of that. Because never ever believe what a program tells you a guy is, height-wise. Okay, when I was in high school, I was 6'2". Okay, I've never been an inch over 6 feet a day in my life, but I was 6'2", $185 in high school every year. And that couldn't have been further from the truth, okay? So never ever believe. This guy, to me, I'm looking at him, he can't be any more than 5'9". I won't believe it until they measure him at the combine and they come back and tell me he's 5'10" or 5'11", then I'll believe it. Until then, he's 5'9". He can't be an inch over 5'9". I just can't see Vernon Hargreaves III being any more than 5'9". Just looking at him, he looks like he's 5'9". And I even question the $195, but I think he might be a $195. He looks to be solidly built, but again, I'm not giving him 5'10", 5'11", and because of that size, he struggles with bigger receivers. You look at some of the games where guys were able to have some success against him. I thought Amari Cooper had his way with Vernon Hargreaves. I thought he had a really good game, and those two went back and forth, but it was a mismatch. Amari Cooper, 6'2", was able to go up, and Amari Cooper's not even a jumper. He's not a leaper, and they threw a jump ball up to him in the end zone. Vernon Hargreaves couldn't even, come down with that football. It could have been his positioning because he can jump. He's a leaper, but size gives him problems. A guy like Laquan Treadwell would give him fits. Cody Core is another guy with that Ole Miss crew that could probably, give him a little bit of trouble. I've seen guys that were bigger give him some trouble. You go on to the Michigan game, and they had their way with Vernon Hargreaves III. It might have been arguably his worst game of his collegiate career. Those were big Michigan receivers that he was dealing with. And so, to me, he struggles with big receivers. Elite, he doesn't have elite makeup speed. That's the next con. And he's not a guy that can fall behind a receiver early in the route, can't be beat off the line of scrimmage and then have to turn and run and expect this guy, if the receiver he's checking has elite speed and he's able to get 2 steps on Vernon Hargreaves III and the ball is put out in front to allow that receiver to go and chase after it, if it's not underthrown, he can't catch up. He doesn't have the makeup speed, and that's what I talked about earlier with the long distance speed. I'm not quite sure Vernon Hargreaves III has the makeup speed necessary to be that elite corner that I want him to be. But again, I don't rule him out because of how hard he plays, the tenacity which he plays the game. I think it can make up for a lot of the deficiencies that he may have, size and maybe the long distance speed and all of those things. But if he can just find a way to keep guys in front of him and not allow guys to get, because if he's just 1 step behind, he's still in the play because of his athleticism and his ability to high point the football. But if he's 2 steps behind and that football is put out in front, I don't think he can make up the distance between he and the receiver getting to that football. Susceptible to double moves is the last con for him. If you watch that Michigan Bowl game, J.U. Chesson, the Michigan receiver, J.U. Chesson, put a double move on him from hell and left Vernon Hargreaves III literally 20 yards in his wake. And that's part him being nosy. Remember I talked about him keying the quarterback's eyes. That's part him being nosy, eyes in the backfield. And that's part him just being a playmaker, wanting to make a play and being a little too greedy, biting off more than he could chew, and broke him off with a beautiful. And teams only run double moves generally against guys they know it's going to work against. They set you up, they see it on film, they know you're susceptible, so they're going to take their time, and when the moment's right, they're going to strike with a double move. And I thought Michigan executed it as beautifully and flawlessly as you could execute a double move. J.U. Chesson was literally 25 yards behind Vernon Hargreaves III in that big blowout victory over Florida in that bowl game. And they didn't play well defensively. He didn't play well defensively in that game, and they struggled mightily in that football game. And he can be beaten by double moves. If he can clean up some of those deficiencies, I liken him to a Brent Grimes, Joe Hayden type, where I don't care about his size. 5'9", 5'10", I don't give a damn. This guy plays the game the way it's supposed to be. He's an elite athlete in terms of quickness and leaping ability. He's explosive. You're going to see that at the combine. Mark my words, you're going to get a 40-plus vertical out of this guy. He can jump. He's explosive. If he can just find a way to stay healthy, and a big knock on him from a lot of people, I'm not going to give him a confidence because I don't believe it until I see it. And I don't worry about forecasting the future. But a lot of people feel like he's going to be like another ex-Florida Gator corner in Joe Hayden in the terms of getting injured, because he plays the game so hard and he's a every snap is my last snap type of football player, that he puts his body on the line so much so that he's going to have a short career. He's going to be often injured like Joe Hayden is for the Cleveland Browns. But I think he's got Joe Hayden-like potential in terms of being a playmaker, a guy that can shut down a side of the field and really make some big plays for you as a cornerback. And so I feel like he has the potential to do some big things. I just want to see him be able to, keep guys from getting behind him. Don't be as susceptible to the double moves. And I'd love to see this guy continue to play the game the way he's been playing it for his entire collegiate career, because it's a joy to watch this man lace him up and go out on the field and perform. That's Vernon Hargreaves III. It happens in the National Football League. It's big or small. We cover it all here in the lab room. Come back and join me as I continue to break down anything and everything in the National Football League. Another quarter down, couple more to go. Come back and join me on the 2016 NFL Draft Prospect 101 series. See you next time. There's plenty more where that came from. While you're here, subscribe to the channel. If you want more Louie Tee, be sure to follow me on Twitter @InTheLabRoom, or You can like the Facebook page at In the Lab Room. That's In the Lab Room on Facebook and at In the Lab Room on Twitter. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so.